And as you said, we had the great collaboration with US Swim, really meeting these athletes and understanding their journey, and then honestly their journey after, right? And really understanding, helping. We had great relationships post the games, just offering advice and really connecting with athletes in a way that.
Any standouts that you can point out that were really exciting to you, or any people that were interesting?
Yeah, so there's a woman, Natalie Hind, actually, who was a medalist in the 2020 Olympics, and she was featured in our campaign for US Swim that we did, and we just formed a great connection. We have occasional Zoom calls to sort of check in and see what's going on, and I learn as much from her, I think, probably as she does from me, in terms of sort of what's next for athletes after these pinnacle moments is just, I think, really eye-opening and really, I think, a testament to the way we approach our partnerships, which is really sort of very holistically. And again, it's about an authentic connection. And we want the customers to feel an authentic connection with the athletes. It's critical, yeah.
Sophie, speaking of the athletes, I feel like, women's sports obviously is having a moment, as we all know, with WNBA. Do you see a similar wave building in winter sports, or what do you think it'll take to actually get to that level?
Yeah, I mean, we've had an amazing tradition of having transcendent athletes in our sports on the female side. I always feel a little bit bad talking about that because our men have done brilliantly as well, but the women have set the standard.
But it's a women's conference, we got to celebrate them.
I mean, going back, years, Peekaboo Street, Lindsey Vonn, with her amazing comeback, she turns 41 next week, and she's got a chance of winning an Olympic medal with a new knee. Michaela Schifrin, the greatest ever female or male alpine skier in the world, better than any of the Europeans. Chloe Kim, Jessie Diggins. So yeah, they're sort of results speak for themselves, but they also have this bigger purpose. And so for us, look, it's very timely. For us, it's kind of a tailwind of this momentum around women's sports because we've had it now for decades. And I think that multi-generational component is also really cool. I mean, it's going to be one of our campaigns in the future. I think also what makes our sports so special is it is something that grandparents do with their grandkids.
Yeah.
The fact that you spend so much time on the chairlift, not just doing the sport, and you can't be on devices because you get frostbite. And you just are sort of forced to engage. And I think, that's something that makes us really quite unique as well.
Good life lesson for kids. Stay off your device. You're going to get frostbite. I think we can all use that. I'm going to come to the audience for questions in just a second. But Libby, quick question for you on the partnership. So both of your organizations have such rich histories. How do you protect, the authenticity of both of them when joining forces, and how do you make sure you're true to both of your brands?
Yeah, I mean, I think we start from the very beginning to the way we figure out if this is going to work is that connection point. And our design team and our marketing team flew out to Park City, where these guys are based, at the very beginning of the relationship, and together with their team really dove into the archive and made sure that we really understand sort of their history, and we didn't just sort of transfer what we believed the creative and the product could be through our lens only. And I think that was really critical. And you say you didn't have any feedback, but the truth is we had so much inspiration from this original trip from our team who went and raided the closet, basically.
They found rooms we didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
Posters and old uniforms.
Yeah, exactly. And we're really good at combing through the archives, I will say. They're very good at that. And they came back with these, a lot of the most valuable pieces they came back with were these vintage patches from all of the past games that were on the performance wear and the uniforms. And so that was really the starting point for how we created the collection. And now sort of the actual vintage patches show up across the collection, and they inspired some of the other designs. So I think that we have to honor the heritage of that brand in order to do the collaboration justice, because customers see right through you, I think, if it's not authentic. And if it doesn't come from somewhere real. There are a bazillion collaborations today. One launches every day in this business. And to cut through, we need to tell a really good story, and we have to have really connected, authentic products. So it has to be real.
That makes sense. Gen Z is all about authenticity too, and we'll come back to them and what the next generation wants in a second. But any questions from our audience out here? Okay.
Yes.
We have a mic coming.
Hi, so great to see you soon. Again, I saw you in Davos. When would the Peekaboo and all the snowboarders, the ski team will come here? It will be wonderful to hear the stories.
Yeah, we'd love to have them come join at one of these events. I mean, it's fantastic to hear from them directly. I don't want to distract them at the moment because they're focusing on training. Our season actually starts a week from Friday, so they're really in sort of the final stages of their prep. But they love to participate in these kind of activities, and they're so well-rounded. To be honest, our athletes aren't making the millions of dollars that some others are. Some do very well, but in general, they just have a different perspective. A lot of them are in further education, are doing internships, have second jobs. And so actually in these kind of environments, they're fascinating to hear from, and just very humble and grateful as well, which I think is also very, very refreshing in this day and age. But we'll try and get them.
I see one over here.
Hi, good morning. Christine Russo. I worked in the 6th Avenue corporate office when the senators were there. And it's good to see, long time ago. And it was the height of the roll neck sweater and the barn jacket. And I see that it's back. So speaking of heritage, how is that going? And how much does that play into your merchandising strategy?
Yes. Wow, that's a great question. Was it planted?
That was not me.
I've been wanting to talk about the roll neck ever since I sat down. No, it's a big part of what we're doing. Like I said, we love to dive into archives, and I think when I took this role, I've been not as far back as that, but I've been with the group for about 22 years now. So I have a lot of history. Some would say baggage, but I call it history with J.Crew and through all different versions of J.Crew. And I think what I know is when we've been at our best is we really do tap into our roots and our heritage and what connects people to that. And that's, we would be nothing without our history and our heritage. And it's honestly a big differentiator for us. So with the roll neck, it's been incredible. For those of you who haven't seen it, but hopefully you have, we did a big relaunch with our new roll neck generation, where we have a men's roll neck, which was our original roll neck that you speak about, that was designed in 1988, and we have a 2025 roll neck that we designed on the women's side, and we put together an incredible cast of young, creative talent to represent our new roll neck generation. And that campaign came out last month and was incredibly viral. And at this point, we still have roll necks coming in, but it's kind of a get it while it lasts moment, which is great if you're in our business. We want it to last a little bit longer, so I wish I had a little bit more inventory, but that's another story. But it's incredibly important, and especially today when nostalgia, people are just feeling comfort in nostalgia. It's a big part of trend. I'd say our generation is feeling comfort in nostalgia, and the new generation sees the trend of nostalgia. And that is really an incredible moment for a brand that has so much heritage like J.Crew. And so it's a great opportunity to tap into that. So more to come, but it's been incredible. The roll neck has been a great moment for us, for both sort of the old timers like me and for new people coming to J.Crew.
Libby, I have a follow-up question on that, and it's talking about generations, because J.Crew's been on this big turnaround journey since the bankruptcy filing in 2020. What are you doing to kind of keep the momentum going, bring new audiences into the brand so it doesn't just resonate, with millennials like me who grew up with it, but what are you seeing that like Gen Z, Gen Alpha want to keep this brand sustaining for the future?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like I said before, there's this sort of authenticity piece that all of the generations care about. And the references, being a brand that has references back to almost a better time or a nostalgic time, like I said, is just, I see that's a common connection, I think, for all the generations. So whether you're someone like me who got the J.Crew catalog in college, I dog-eared it, I spoke to the woman in Lynchburg, Virginia. By the way, she's still there, taking my order from the order form that you used to fill out, and then waiting for those packages. That kind of nostalgia. I bought my first suit for an interview. I didn't get the job, but I bought my first interview suit at a J.Crew. I remember the fabric. I remember the experience. And that is still resonant today. We have a new generation of people coming into J.Crew looking for their interview suit and then looking for a roll neck sweater. And so I think always trying to find those moments of resonance that really cuts across multi-generations has been critical for us. It's not just about one generation. It's really about connecting and finding that commonality with all, which has been fun.
Yeah. I want to end on some advice, because I think that's what a lot of people here in the room are looking for. We've all seen, the dangers of partnerships when they go south, Gap and Kanye, to name a few, but what advice would you give to brands who are looking to partner with each other? What do you think is really important that our audience here know? Sophie, I'll start with you, and we have about a minute each.
Yeah, I think you can feel quite early on whether it's a good fit or not. You can't really fake it, especially if you've got the right sort of level of people engaged in the conversation. So just being very clear about what you're looking for going into it. If it doesn't match that, then move in a different direction, because these relationships go through highs and lows, whether it's the economy or other things, especially when you're talking about live sports. Things don't go always according to plan. So if you haven't got that true, authentic foundation, and for us, there were just so many check boxes, but you've got to spend time with the people, to really make sure that you are aligned and that you're in it together for the long run. Because short term, for us, certainly doesn't work. For us, it has to be a long-term partnership to really make it worthwhile.
That makes sense. Yeah. Libby, what about you?
It's important. This collab is the longest collab we've ever signed on for. It's a 3-year partnership. And so, it's one of a kind for us. It's new. It's very exciting. And like I said, we've only dabbled in sports. This is really the deepest we'll have gone. And I think Sophie's right. You have to make sure. We're gonna be together for 3 years. We better like each other. And we had dinner last night, and we were already sort of brainstorming about what's next, because there's life after the Olympic Games, and we're excited about what we could be doing next and how it could sort of give a platform to both of our businesses. And I think you have to want to have that continuous dialogue. And I think you have to be working with a partner who wants to have that balance and is really sort of open to the things you do really well, and then really respects what's important for your partner. Like Sophie said, the athletes couldn't be here because they are sort of on the road to the games, and training starts like next week in terms of actual snow on the ground and skiing. And so really being respectful to the athletes throughout all of this is critical. So I just think and you just have to really love working together, I think. Yeah.
Great advice. Thank you both so much. Good luck at the games.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.